Hi and welcome or welcome back. So my name is Marta and this is one more try to sort of come back to making videos, which I just felt like I really wanted to do today. So it is the beginning of August, which is my birthday month, which I'm really excited about. I'm someone who really loves birthdays. And also in Ireland, it's the first month of autumn, which feels really fitting because it's really grey and wet and a little bit cold today. But that's not what we're here to talk about. August is also Women in Translation month, and so I thought I would gather my books that are by women in translation and just do a little try chapter talk. I've been feeling like my reading is a little bit all over the place, which I feel like that's the normal state of it, honestly, but I thought it would be a chance to maybe pick up some of the books on my shelves that maybe they're not like in the front of my mind and give them a chance, and maybe, you know, discover some things that I might want to read soon or get a taste of them. So I have the books here. If this one's the other way around. So I'm just gonna tell you about them as I read the first chapter so as to not repeat myself a lot. So here we go. So the first book I read a chapter from is The Wall by Marlen Haushofer. Marlen Haushofer is an Austrian author, and this was translated from German by Shaun, Whiteside. This book was first published in the 60s and is a sci-fi dystopia. Essentially it is about this woman who is in the Austrian mountains and she's by herself, and then suddenly an invisible wall appears and she gets trapped there. Just from the very beginning of it, the writing is very, very descriptive and somewhat distanced from the main character. She is telling this story after some time has happened, but it seems like she is still there. I am definitely intrigued. It's not a very long book, but I think this it seems like it would be an exploration of solitude and the human condition, and I definitely got me intrigued more than I was before reading that first little bit. Also, it is part of this Vintage Earth collection by Penguin, which I think is really beautiful. Just a little bonus. So I just finished reading from The Art of Losing by Alice Zeniter. This is translated from the French by Wynne, and this was so beautiful. So let me pick up the cover. This book, I'm already so glad that I'm doing this little taste test, this little try chapter, because this book was not at all something that I was considering reading soon, and I am already so excited for it. So this book is sort of a familial, like a multi-generational story, and it follows this family who at one point emigrated from Algeria to France, and there's a woman in this family who's never before visited Algeria and who is now sort of uncovering the threats of her family's past and visiting the country for the first time. The writing of this is much more my speed. It's a little bit more poetic, but it's not overly flowery. And already I read the prologue and the first like small chapter, which was 17 pages, and there's already really strong themes of family, memory, history being like interwoven. I think it's gonna be a really beautiful book. So yeah, this one's jumping to the top of my list. Next. So next up I just read from this book. It is by auður ólafsdóttir, although I most likely mispronounced it. And this one, it is translated from the Icelandic by macià riutort, and it's a translation into Catalan, which is my first language. I'm not sure that this one has been translated into English. If it has, or if it's about to, I'll pop up the cover here. But the title that they have given it in Catalan is The Truth About the Light. And it is about this woman who is a midwife, and who comes from a family where there have been a few generations of midwives. And so far it is winter in Iceland, and there are just some musings about the nature of her work and about the women in her family who have been midwives before her, about the weather. It was quite atmospheric, and I think it's not a very plot heavy book. I remember in the back it talks about a man who is not Icelandic, who crosses paths with this woman. I'm pretty sure, I think it's set around Christmas. But so far I did enjoy the writing style. I know there are at least 2 books by this author that have been translated into English. One of them is Hotel Silence, I believe, and the other one might be Miss Iceland or something like that. But I haven't read anything by her. This one, I guess I'm not super intrigued, but I did really like the prose. So yeah. So no time has passed for you, but I'm continuing this the next day. It is a bit of a brighter day, which is really nice. I have some peppermint and licorice tea, and I'm gonna keep going with the next book. I'm back again, and I read until page 29 of Trio by Johanna Hedman. This is translated from the Swedish by Ivette miravitllas, because this is the Catalan translation. I know it has been translated into English. It is called The Trio. I'll pop it up on the screen. I don't really know who the English translator is, but this is the book, and I am quite enjoying this. I knew the story revolves about these 2 men and a woman in their like 20s, I'm pretty sure, and they have about the relationships between the 3 of them. But it was really cool because the first part of the book is sort of a flash forward from this main timeline, and we have one of the men, and then who I assume is the daughter of the other 2 people. I really enjoyed the writing. It was in small vignettes, and I've heard this compared to Sally Rooney, which was putting me off it a little bit because I haven't enjoyed any of the Sally Rooney I've read so far. And now while reading this, one of the things that it is talking about is language as well, because there's a character who used to live in Sweden but lives now in the United States. And it was just making me wonder if I might enjoy a book like this, which is slower, not much is going on, a lot about character work and character relationships, much like Sally Rooney's books are, a bit more intellectual, whatever that means. If I might enjoy that more in my native language, which I don't know. It also, of course, they are different writers. It's not like this is just Swedish Sally Rooney, but I don't know, I was thinking about that too. So very happy with the beginning of this. I think it definitely has potential for me. Now I have 3 more books. They are all non-fiction, but I'll just show you the physical ones first. The thing about these 2 is I have them in Catalan and Spanish, but they are translated from English, so they are, translated literature for me, but they might not be for you. This is Viure escrivint by Dillard, or The Writing Life, I think it's called, and it's just a book of essays about writing. And then this one here is by Laurie, Colwin. It is called Una escritora en la cocina in Spanish, but the title is Home Cooking, and I've been really interested lately in food narratives, be it fiction, non-fiction, books, movies, TV shows. So I'm really keen on reading that. I'm not super sure that non-fiction is as conducive to try a chapter kind of moment, but I think I will read a couple pages, if anything, just to kind of sample what the writing is like. And then the non-fiction I have on my Kindle is called A Decolonial Feminism. It is translated from French and it is by François Verger, but I might be making that up. I'm pretty sure. I'll pop it up in here. So same thing, a couple pages of each of those. I think I'll do all of those at once and then I'll come back and I'll tell you about them. Alright, so a very quick couple pages after. This one, as I said, is The Writing Life by Annie Dillard, which I was convinced that it was translated from French, because I know Dillard sounded French to me. It isn't. It is translated into Catalan by Alba dedeu, and it is a collection of essays about writing, being a writer, the written language, etc. Just from the very beginning of it, it does seem quite lyrical, metaphorical, which I don't know that is exactly my speed right now, but I'm sure I can appreciate it because I am always interested in writer adjacent kind of stories, even though this is like real life. Then in contrast, the Laurie Colwin, this is a collection of essays about cooking, about the preparing of different recipes along with personal anecdotes and such. And in contrast, the tone of this is super conversational. It feels just like the author is talking to a friend, which I was really enjoying. And finally, I have it as an ebook, but it is a Decolonial Feminism by François Verger, and it is translated by Ashley J. Bowrer with the author, which I think it was cool that was included. And this one is sort of a more academic sort of text, not very difficult or anything, but compared again to the other two, I can see like right from the beginning that it's gonna be a book that centers a lot of intersectionality, which I think is interesting. And also I think that especially in the books that have come out in the recent years, in the English speaking world, there's a lot of books that talk about racism and colonialism from a US or a UK perspective. So I think it would be interesting in this case to read something from a French author that is not the main narrative that we have been hearing about mostly in the English speaking context. And just to finish off the video, I thought I would put them in order of what has like piqued my attention the most. So we have The Writing Life, Veritat, sobre, llum, The Wall, The Trio, Home Cooking, and The Art of Losing. And then I guess Decolonial Feminism would come around here. That is the order from most to least intrigue, so what I would be most excited to continue right now, as well as the things that I think I am most likely to absolutely love. So once again, I'm really glad that I have decided to do this. So thank you so much for sharing this time with me. Let me know what translated books you have loved recently, or what if you're planning on reading anything this month. And I'll see you next time. Bye!